And we are live on Twitch. Yay!
Yay!
And we are.
Yay!
I almost made it. I still had my Twitch volume up, so everybody who listens to this just heard a little bit of an echo, but not too bad. I caught it. Welcome, everyone. Hannah.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Knights of the Tabletop, episode more than one. And these are all of my friends. This is the show where I come to gloat about how many friends I have.
So many.
As you can see, I am not Lancelot tonight because I guess I don't hate myself today because I hate Lancelot.
Oh, God.
But it's my birthday, so I have to love myself today. So yeah. Tonight is a very special episode because we have our first guest group on with us tonight. This has been about a month in the making, give or take.
Yeah.
So this is awesome that we finally found a Tuesday that works for everybody.
Oh, cat.
So today we have the Dice Girls podcast on with us tonight. Very awesome. I'm so happy to have us here. And per usual...
Hold on just a second, Hannah. My wife is army low crawling across the floor behind me so that you can't see her feed the cat. I can tell you to shut up. You can feed the cat. It's okay.
Feed the kitten! Feed the kitten!
He looks so betrayed because she just took his food dish away. And he's just looking at her like, what are you doing, Mom?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Slope just subscribed to us with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Holy
Slope!
crap, that's awesome.
Slope is like our favorite subscriber and follower right now. Like,
at the very least, the most active. Anyway, alright. Sorry. No, we love Slope. Thank you. Go ahead, Hannah.
Thank you. You obviously know me. I'm Hannah, also known as Sansa Starkkin on Twitter, because that's who I am. That is me. But you can find me at Opheliac with an X over the E at all other locations. Only reason I'm not Opheliac on Twitter is because I used it for my personal when I was a teenager. So yeah, let's go around and all introduce ourselves. Get that out of the way. I don't know what order the overlay goes. Do we want to go clockwise or counterclockwise?
Okay. That's too much. It's too much. Let's do us first, and then we have our guest, best for last.
Okay, awesome.
Right, so I, as you are probably aware, am Hobart, aka the Friendly Dungeon Master, aka the Friendly DM, and yeah, I'm hosting this shindig. But I'm not the one who organized it. That honor belongs to Sir Kris. Who's not going to talk.
He's just silent.
You're muted.
So he will be silent.
Okay.
There we go.
Am I muted now?
You're
Good.
Okay, great. I'm Christopher. I'm an elementary music teacher, K through 5. I also play Dungeons and Dragons and write D&D adventures. I am published on DM's Guild and make maps. And sometimes I deal with Hannah trying to get naked in D&D games with characters all the time.
That was like the worst way you could have said that.
No,
Please don't
Hobart.
give my players ideas.
Hobart punching people in the butt. That's what I deal with.
I have not been able to do that yet. So
He's
You haven't been
the
able to
time.
punch him in the butt?
We'll get into that later about these stories.
Obviously, you have
But,
not watched
yeah.
our show.
Oh, be quiet.
I
Wow.
have seen some of it.
Oh, wow.
I'm just messing.
Calm down there.
Yeah, no,
Just calm
I
down.
missed the butt punching,
Oh, it's the best part.
which makes me real sad.
It's real
Butt
good.
punching.
All right.
Oh,
So
goodness.
now we will go. On the screen, it's top left for y'all. Alexa and Kim.
Hello.
Welcome.
You're I'm Kim. I'm the mom. She's the daughter.
Yeah.
If you can tell.
And do you guys mind telling us who you play on the podcast?
I play Kai Mara, the changeling. In here.
I am Trigus Garganath.
Yes.
We already knew that. His reputation
I
was
already did.
It does.
He's so excited.
All right.
All right.
And then we move over to Ashley and Becca.
and I'm the DM for this crazy awesome group.
And I'm Ashley. I play Rockna Paladin.
Oh,
Awesome.
Welcome.
I have questions for Rockna tonight. I'm telling you. Mm. Okay, well, let's start off. I'm going to ask Becca a question. Becca, what put a fire underneath you to get a all-girls D&D podcast going?
Oh man, it was kind of a long journey. She played a big part in it. She introduced me to D&D year, and and then I went on a road trip and found myself at Gen Con, where I attended a D&D character building work. And while I was there, I met another gal, Renee from Fate and the Fable Maidens, and she gave me a card for her podcast, and it was kind of just like, oh, she's a regular person and she's doing this super cool thing. Why don't I also try to do this super cool thing? And both Ashley and I had wanted to play D&D for a long time, kind of got together and decided to do a little bit of both and asked Kim and Alexa to join us. We knew they'd be fantastic and a lot of fun. And so far, yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So, what was the conversation like to get everyone to sit down at this table and be like, I'm going to get you all to play imaginary people? What was that conversation like?
It wasn't for Ashley. It was not like a stretch at all. Like,
No,
she's a gamer.
I was.
Yeah. So no, wait. Kim and Alexa, I'm gonna tell on you guys a little bit. They said no at first, because of the time commitment.
I said no. I hadn't even mentioned it to Alexa. I just thought, I don't want to do that.
I didn't even wait. You said no at first?
Yeah.
Because
You
the
did.
first time
She's finding out here.
I heard about it was when we were at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. So I had text messaged. I had text messaged Kim and explained the idea and asked if she and Alexa would be willing to join us, and she said no at first. And I didn't want to take no for an answer, so I said, "Well, let's go to lunch." So we all went out to lunch together, and I kind of explained it a little more in detail, and I think made it sound a lot more appealing than I could over a text message. And by the end of that lunch, they were both like really excited about it. So I was really excited.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
I actually
So-
have a question to build
Go
off
for
of
it.
that. So, obviously, I am like the only girl that's like appeared consistently with Forever DM No More. And I've always like fantasized about doing like a whole girl thing. Was that like the original intention? Like, is that the original plan, or is that just how it turned out?
It's kind of just how it turned out. We just we wanted to find other people who didn't really know D&D.
Okay.
And I do have other
Yes.
friends. I do have other friends who do play D&D. And I kind of didn't want to go that way because I wanted to learn all of us together. And so it kind of just happened that we were all ladies, and it's just been really cool.
Awesome. I love that.
Kim,
Yes.
Trigus is I'm not gonna even pretend I don't play favorites as a teacher and a viewer. Trigus is by far like my favorite because it's kind of like watching an alien to a complete universe, experience that universe in the same way that a new player is experiencing D&D for the first time. Like it, for me as a viewer, like the parallels are pretty neat. So, like, tell me more about how like you came to the idea of Trigus Garganath.
Well, I was looking through like the list of races.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I was looking through the list of races, and I, looked at a few, and all of a sudden I saw the Triton, and I just thought, that's it. That's him. So I started looking up how you aim for a Triton, and it told, about the syllables and all that. I play Fallout 4, and my character, I always play a guy.
Amazing.
And his name is Trig, Trigg, always, because I play it over and over again. And so my initial thought was I want to be Trig, and I thought it doesn't fit the Triton, so I just added the us.
That's fantastic. Okay. Now, why did we choose bagpipes?
Because
there are no wrong answers here.
I love the sound of the bagpipes.
Yes. Yes.
I always have, and I just thought, I could play a harp or a whatever, and it would be kind of exciting. And
she really loves bagpipes, because one time I was at work and she texted me just out of the blue, I want bagpipes at my funeral. That was it. That was the text. Okay.
That's fantastic.
You're a gem of a mother. Anyone would be lucky to have that. That would be good. That would be great. Oh, man. Oh, goodness. It's fantastic.
No,
Okay.
I was very happy to hear that answer. Like, it's because you like bagpipes. You love bagpipes. Like, for me, I always hear people, well, why did you choose bagpipes? Oh, because they're obnoxious.
Oh, really?
I wanted the character to be obnoxious.
Fake.
I hate you. Not really.
Fake.
I don't really, but I hate that stereotype. So
that
makes me happy that you chose it because they're awesome.
Yes, they are.
Dog's trying to fall off the
bed. How much of a lead did you take in building Trigus from the printed material? Because as you continue on this story, like I see like this constant unawareness from Trigus, kind of like Dwight Schrute from The Office, of like this, you should have heard from me, and kind of just like how he understands the world as it is. Like how much of you are like, how much did you go, oh, I'm going full in, like this is a hot mess, and how much you're like from your research into a character?
Well, I just thought it would be more interesting if he hadn't been on land, didn't know what was going on. But little did I know how difficult that was going to be. I have to remove myself and think as him, and I have to remind myself he wouldn't know that. He wouldn't be able to, he wouldn't say that, So it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's fun, and it's also kind of limiting at times.
Yes.
So I don't know if that answered your question.
It does answer my question. So in my home game, I have my friend Clinton, and he's used to always playing. He's been playing D&D for about 20 years, and he's always used to playing very Machiavellian characters that try to run things, control the group, and he's playing a kobold druid in a circus right now in our current group. And so he's always like having to restrain himself because he has the answer he wants the group to do. But he's like, I'm an idiot kobold. I wouldn't think of this. I would be off doing some nonsense somewhere else. So no, your answer makes complete sense. My next question would be for Alexa. What is it like playing D&D with your mom?
we're pretty close.
Yeah.
So it's not like a chore or anything. We understand each other. I just like have to restrain my cringe like constantly. Constantly. But I mean, other than that, it's pretty great.
Now you play Rachna as well, correct?
I play Kai Mara.
No, you play Kai. Who's playing Rachna?
That's me.
I haven't. Ashley. Okay, Ashley. What is Rachna's oath?
Can you tell us?
Oh,
Okay.
I did select this. I selected Oath of the Ancient.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that was heavily. I don't know if that still applies really, but I believe it was pretty heavily kind of like nature, university kind of stuff. So
I'm a paladin expert.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you. Fill in the blanks for me.
Yeah, it is a very nature-esque background. You're right. Yeah.
I didn't see her being overly, like extremely, heavy-handed in her faith. I didn't see her, and the other ones just felt more like that. And so, part of her story is that she's trying to find her own way while still keeping her faith, and that just kind of fit the most with what I saw for her character.
Very nice. Okay. And so Kai is played by Lexa, or what do you prefer?
Yeah.
Lexa. Okay. So how did you come across the changeling character? Like, what books did you use to find that?
It was just a link that Becca sent us.
Perfect.
And,
I love it.
Yeah. And it was just a list of the races, and kind of really appealed to me, like, because I like, anytime I play a video game, I always immediately go into like a stealth build. So it's like, that'd be perfect, because then I could be stealthy. And
Fantastic. Now, how does it feel like? Tell me, go deep into her mind for a moment, and tell me how frustrating it must be to be a stealth character attached to Trigus.
It's not wrong.
yeah, I think at first she was like kind of annoyed, like sits back and just like watches and just laughs because it's hilarious to watch.
Oh,
That is definitely
goodness.
true.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
we're all listening to it. It's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Becca,
Yeah.
my next question is that I noticed in your first session, you took a twist on a very traditional way of setting up a D&D campaign or venture, which is you all start in a tavern.
Right.
But it was you all start at karaoke night.
Yeah.
Well, can you describe a little bit like your thought process of how you prepped that? Because I found it completely a fascinating take as to what might be going on in a tavern with kind of this like modern idea of what people do at a bar.
Yeah.
In
Thank
there,
you.
like, so yeah, tell me more about that.
So I knew very little about D&D going in, but I did know that kind of like a trope for the characters to meet at a tavern. And it's because it's an easy place to set up. I think it's just a natural place where you're gonna meet strangers. And so I was okay to have that setting, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. And I didn't put in the karaoke night until they had all picked their races and their classes, and I knew we had Trigus as a bard, and I thought this is an opportunity to take advantage of that. And my end game was always to get them kicked out of the tavern, and I thought having somebody on a stage performing is going to be a good catalyst for getting them kicked out. And so it kind of just evolved from there. Once I found out we had a bard, I knew that I knew that Kim would, as Trigus, jump on the opportunity to perform. So it kind of it worked out really well. It went really smoothly from there.
That's awesome. So a question for everyone from the Dice Girls. So there was an episode where you were all going into the jungle-esque area. There's flying snakes and wolves. And it's almost a total party kill. TPK right there. Let's do a round table of that, of like what was everyone's thoughts in that moment of like what is happening right now? Of like just up, down, up, down, up, up, down. Yes. Tell me more. We'll start with.
Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm talking and I shouldn't be talking. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the first thought for all of us was, oh God, we're only going to be doing like 3 episodes. It was, man, for me, it was a little frustrating just feeling like like something was missing, and it turned out it was. But but I think even if we had I think Becca did the math, and that even if we had been adding everything up properly, we still wouldn't have been hitting anything.
Yeah, they were rolling like 2s and
yeah,
a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just the most bizarre thing I could ever to happen.
Well, I think in that the first battle it was the snakes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know I could die. I just thought, oh, this is a bummer. You know, things are going really poorly, and I don't think it was until we got to the save thing that I thought, oh my gosh, I can really die, and that's when I got scared.
Good job, Becca. You put fear into the hearts of people you're playing with. I like it. That's fantastic. Okay. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you're fine. It actually kind of changed the course of everything a little bit. I didn't mean to put the fear of death into them. I felt so guilty. Like, I felt so terrible because I could see that it was a little frustrating, and I knew that at that point there wasn't a lot I could have done with those dice rolls. But they were so scared afterwards that when they made it to the caverns, I had intended or had hoped that they would explore those caverns more. There's a whole cave system in there, and there's other battles to be had in there, and there's things to fight, and there's just like secret passages, and like it's a very detailed cavern. And they were like, nope, we're in, we're done, we're not going to die today.
No,
yes,
I completely understand like accidentally almost killing your party and feeling bad about it, but at the same time it's hilarious. My party, my home game, took on a red dragon wormling, no sweat. Three characters, and they just murdered it. No problem. I put them in a forest with 4 will-o-wisps, and they almost died.
Oh no!
And like the whole time, because will-o-wisps have a high AC, they're trying to hit them, and it's just not happening. The dice are not in their favor, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm going to kill the entire group with these little balls of light and their 5 electricity damage.
Yeah, aren't the flying snakes like level 1 or like the easiest you can?
They're like really. I think they have 5 hit points. The flying snakes do. But their AC is like 14.
Yeah, they're supposed to be real easy to kill.
Super easy.
Baby's first combat.
So easy. I was like, I better put 3 of them in there.
Oops.
Yeah. Oops.
So, when you were in the caves and they reached the gnome family, there was a point where your group of players became just fascinated with a particular character, an NPC, how much detail did you actually put into that gnome child versus the interaction of improv that, like, I'm assuming happened with it?
Yeah, no, it was
Or will be.
Wimble.
Wimble, yes.
I knew there was going to be a gnome child, and that is pretty much literally it. And when I can't remember. I think it was the first. I maybe couldn't say as ours properly or something cute. And these girls, like, they were, oh my god, it's the cutest. And so I have to follow this. I keep making this gnome cute.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
Cute gnomes get you every time.
Gotta freeze it.
Yeah, who's freezing? Am I freezing, or is it Becca?
No, it's Becca and Ashley.
They're frozen.
Yep.
Lexi is frozen too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. All of our guests are frozen.
All our guests is frozen. What happened?
Wow.
Oh, I give him a second. Uh-oh.
Okay, they can still hear us.
They can still hear us. So, they're moving now. I see movement.
Oh, there we go.
I see movement.
The spell ended.
Like a T-Rex. Great.
Are we back?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry, our internet connection out here in the middle of nowhere unreliable sometimes.
You know, that's okay. That's Austin, with its flooding that's been going recently, because, end of the world, end times are upon us. But
Totally.
we won't talk. That's a different
It's because
stream.
too many people are playing D&D.
Yeah, totally.
Was it 3 or 2 weeks ago that, like, they had to flood the Lake Austin, and so it cut out all these power lines, and I had to go to DMing on my phone on Discord.
It was amazing.
It was, though.
I was like, all right, we're gonna make this map work. It's gonna be great.
It was a testament to fortitude, will.
Yeah.
Oh
I
man.
was like, I'm not gonna let it die. Now, how much prep do you do for each session, Becca?
I do a fair amount of prep. I have a pretty clear general big direction that I know that I'd like the story to go in. The most work is kind of, I think right now, just trying to set up and predict the things that they might do, or the places they might go, or the people they might run into. And so it's a lot of like if-then paragraphs, like if they go here, they meet this person. If they go here, this happens. And so it's really, I think the most work is kind of just creating all the different possibilities, or at least a handful of different possibilities, so I'm not flying completely blind.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I spend a couple hours on it before each session.
Wow. Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then there's the days where you just have to go, well, that's all going in the bucket because they decided the barkeep was more interesting for 2 hours.
That was me when my players castrated someone, both here and then on my home game.
2 different times?
Yeah!
I didn't have anything to do with that. That was Hannah. Hannah has a castration fixation.
No, that was not me!
Hannah.
First time in so one of my homebrews is a Viking setting. So, like last actual D&D stream we did, like last weekend of November, I believe, was my birthday one shot, and it was set in my homebrew. And I think I jinxed it because I had told these guys about in my home game, oh my god, my fucking players, they castrated someone in the game last night. And like, and they castrated him trying to get information. And at the end, I had to tell them that motherfucker didn't have any information.
Oh,
Just castrated a guy. I think I jinxed it because in my one shot, JJ's
Oh no.
Goliath character castrated the frost giant that and wore it around his neck
Oh no.
like a boa. And I don't know what is with my Viking homebrew and castration happening.
I think it's just you and a castration
It is
fixation
not
again.
me. I have nothing to. I said nothing about anything.
Anyway, I blame you. I blame you.
All right. I guess it has to do with me being just letting it happen. It's all
Slow.
Sorry, everyone. Mom and Dad are fighting right now.
Slow.
It was your fault.
Slope says slap, 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 clap, clap, clap. Because that's how the story ended, with JJ slapping in NBC. Anyway, that. So apparently Twitch is being a little fucky for a lot of viewers, and is causing it to buffer a lot. So the recording of this will be on YouTube before too long. I'll make sure to get it put up rapidly, since Twitch is weird. But we are going to press on.
Yep. It might sort itself out. Who
Hopefully.
knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. The Wreck-It Wealth might be hitting up places we don't know. He might be breaking the internet again. So, yes. Lexa, where do you see your character? Like, what... Well, here's a question. What level are we right now in the Dice Girls campaign?
We can't say. We can't say, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, at the end of the session we did yesterday, we leveled up. Now we're level 2.
What level? Are we level 3?
Level
2.
2? We're level
Yeah.
2?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes. Okay.
Is this exclusive news now?
It is. It is
Oh my
exclusive
God.
news.
It's a
Right
blessing.
here. Right here, we got it. Right here. Okay, so
You guys heard it here first.
as a changeling rogue,
Mhm.
what archetype are you like looking at? Like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Which archetype and why?
I don't know. I haven't really delved into it yet.
Sorry.
Be quiet, Hobart.
If JJ was here, he'd be like, swashbuckler.
The assassin would be really interesting. With the changeling, it would be super easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go assassin. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Influencing you.
Do it right now.
Choose what sounds cool.
Choose
That's what it's
Jesus,
about.
sounds so-
Assassin sounds really cool. You go swashbuckler,
goodness.
then Becca is obligated to put boats in the campaign. It's a
I mean,
rule.
with Trigus around, it's already probably going
I'm
to
all right with that.
Okay, so beyond dark vision, what is the one thing, like if you could go back and go, I wish I had known that sooner in D&D. Like you could go back and go, if I had known this at the beginning, I would have start with Ashley.
I think I'm gonna have to go with. Man, I kind of knew this. I just like once you start playing, I don't know, a bunch of things just go out the window. But I wasn't well enough aware of making checks, like perception checks and stuff like that, and insight and like looking around at your surroundings more, right? Because probably my most embarrassing moment on the podcast would be when we went back to
Max.
Mac.
Not Mac. Gabe.
Gabe. Yeah, we went back to Gabe's apothecary, and we didn't knock on. He was there the whole and the door was closed, and I think it had a close sign. But the lights were on, but we didn't look. We didn't do any kind of perception check or anything to see if the lights were on, movement inside, anything. We're just like, oh, there's a closed sign. Guess we're gonna go somewhere else and see if anybody else knows where he is. And it was just stupid. Not my proudest moment.
There's a lot of moments for a lot of people in D&D where it's like, this is not a proud moment.
But those are usually the stories that years later, those are the ones you remember.
Yeah,
So.
they're the funniest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a question for everyone in the Dice Girls except for...
Not everybody got to answer the last question.
Oh, you're right. I should shut up. What was I doing? I got so excited
Put
about
on
this
the
question.
brakes, Kris. Calm down.
Calm down. Hello, small child.
Kris is very excited you guys are here, by the way. I don't know if you can
He
tell.
is. He's fanboying.
He has been fanboying for a while.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Okay.
So have
right.
we, but...
Okay. That was Ashley. Let's go Kim. Kim.
Yeah. The thing I wish I knew that I had is, Becca, what's that thing that I have?
No, the thing you haven't used yet, it's called Bardic Inspiration.
Oh, True Strike. One of those.
Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah.
Still haven't used it.
No, but I will. I intend to.
I think we were in like our maybe 4th session before we kind of figured out that, like I mentioned to Kim, and don't forget you have Bardic Inspiration, and it was kind of like, wait, what is that?
Well, then also it's like finding out that I have a dagger, and so I'm always just trying to, like, I would try to stab things, not realizing that you can throw the dagger, you can do other moves besides stab stuff.
What about you, Alexa? What would you change if?
I think every time, like any battle we got into, we all just kind of like took out our weapons, and it's like we've gotten into, we have to fight, but like if we had known that, we can intimidate it and make it run away, or we could persuade it and have it be our friend, like that would have been helpful.
A lot of times.
Oh, this is kind of a hard one for me. I think I just wish that I still go back to that first battle of the flying snakes, and if I would have known that they needed to be, because we weren't adding their modifiers like at all. So we weren't adding their strength modifiers, we weren't adding their proficiency bonuses. Even though it still wouldn't have made much of a difference, I would have felt better about all of that if I would have been more prepared to throw them into that situation.
I will say it felt very authentic in that moment of getting to watch a DM go, oh crap, there's these things that could be helped. Like,
yes.
So, no, I really enjoyed that because you see a lot of DMs try to put up, I guess that's what's my favorite thing about the Dice Girls is the authenticity of it. Is that like we're learning, this is all new, and some things aren't always going to be polished, but there it is. So that it was awesome. I had a great giggle about it. It was great because I was like, I was waiting for someone to realize about proficiencies and the bonuses.
Right.
I was like, man, when they realize there's going to be just a shitstorm, I was like, yes.
Basically, yeah, we actually they have not yet battled since the next battle, their first battle was those flying snakes, and then after that was the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
With the wolves, we had at least gotten far enough to be like, okay, we're gonna add our proficiency bonuses. We still weren't adding the strength bonuses yet, and they have not had a combat since then. So like, I feel like their next combat they're just gonna be so shocked. And how easy that they're going to be able to take things out, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now, okay, did we get everyone for the most interesting? Yes, okay. So this is a question for everyone but Becca. In every DM's seat, there's a point where they're planning something and the characters do the complete opposite. And you can see this look of shock on the DM, like, I wasn't expecting that. Has that happened for any of you where you said something and, like, Becca's poker face just went, no, thank you, please don't.
It's not even a poker face today. Yesterday, she's like, I had no idea you guys were going to do that.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm excited for that podcast then. To listen to that shenanigans. Yep, the eye roll seals the deal. That's a classic. That's a classic.
I actually have a question strictly for Becca.
Okay.
So, since you are the DM, and like this is all your guys' like first time like experiencing D&D, if you were in the player chair, what do you think you would do? Like race, class, everything like that.
Oh, that's a really good question. I have played a couple times since we started the podcast. There's another group that gets together every other week, and I've gone to a couple of those just to kind of be more immersed in it, because I feel like if I have more experience, the more time I spend around Dungeons and Dragons, the better I'll be at DMing. And I actually wound up going with one of the NPCs was my character. I played Rixie, one of Wimble's moms. So she is a gnomish bard. And she was really fun to play. So I think maybe something like that. I don't think I would go so much for like a fighter class. I think I would be more of like a bard, or maybe I don't know, a ranger maybe, or something like that. Or I'm trying to think of a druid. Stuff like that I think appeals to me more than like the fighter classes.
Awesome. I love that. I always love hearing about specifically character things. Like that's my thing.
Nice.
Awesome. Kris, do you have more questions?
I do have more questions. So, tons of questions. So, what would you say was something outside of the game itself, was something unexpected, like something that has impacted you so far from like being in the community or getting to play D? Like, what has been something you didn't expect from starting all of this?
Anybody?
Ready?
Yeah, okay. I'll go.
Kim, yes, Trigus.
Yeah. Being on Twitter, it just blew my mind how many people are out there that play D&D and are so into it and are so welcoming. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're new and you don't know what's going on. It's like, we'll teach you. What do you need to know? Let me know. Contact me, that kind of thing. So that was really surprising.
Yeah, I had it's been very similar where we were just blown away by the response, not only the like amount of response, but that it was all extremely positive. Like we were almost kind of prepared for the worst. Like we even sat down before we started and had a conversation about like, okay, how are we going to deal with if there's gatekeepers? How are we going to deal with trolls? How are we going to deal with harassment? None of us ever was like, how are we going to deal with it if everybody's amazing? And that's kind of what wound up happening. And it just really shocked all of us in the best way possible.
It's good to know that the community is so welcoming. Like that's always a good thing to hear.
Yeah.
Well, and it helps like when you have someone initially who is like very welcoming and is already established within the community, because generally that person is connected to other people who are welcoming and fighting, and then those people are connected to people who are welcoming. Like it's just like a degrees of separation type of thing, or at least that's the way it's been in my experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not associating with trolls and gatekeepers has been fairly easy because I just tend to follow and surround myself with people who are already inclusive and just love the game and people who play it. So.
Okay, now here's a dark question.
Oh
We're gonna
boy.
get to it. All right, and we're gonna see if you can even answer it. Character death is a problem a lot of games face, and sometimes of like having to fudge rolls and keep characters around. What is your approach, Becca, in the foreseeable future about character death and what that means for your group?
So we have already kind of dealt with this. Those damn wolves killed pretty much everyone. It got really bad.
Did it get worse than what we heard on the podcast?
Oh yes, it did. We had to do some creative editing, and because basically what happened is Trigus was knocked out and doing death saves, and I as a DM let it get to the point where this is your final. You fail this death save, you are perma-dead. And then she rolled the dice.
And it was.
And Trigus.
Did I die? I died?
Yes.
So sad.
No. Trigus should have perma-died, but it was kind of this moment where like we're all staring at the dice and we're all just kind of laughing nervously, like this isn't really gonna happen. And I could feel in that moment such responsibility of like, oh shit, how am I gonna fix this? I should never have let it get down to one dice roll. And so we kind of creatively were like, and Hector comes rushing into the clearing. And Bastion was already there because he had already saved Rockman from being permadead. And it was a terrifying, absolutely terrifying moment for me because it felt like I had let it go on for too long. Like I already knew that I didn't want them to die in that moment. And so knowing that ahead of time, I feel like I should have maybe brought Hector and Bastion in or made the wolves, I should have had something happen before it got to the point of, well, that's it. You've rolled a shitty dice. Like you're just dead now. And so we already kind of had to creatively deal with that. I think in the future, I won't let it get that far. I'm not 100% dedicated to like, you're never going to die because that's not fun. And there should be some, knowledge that there are repercussions. If you go running into the mouth of a dragon, like you're going to die. But for now, I feel pretty strongly that I'll do my best to not kill these guys.
Excellent. That sounds great. Because I need Trigus around for a little bit longer. I feel like I'm talking to like George Lucas. He's like, yeah, I was totally gonna kill Luke in that first scene. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I couldn't let Trigus die. That would have been terrible.
Then I'd have bagpipes at my funeral. I know that much.
Yeah. Now, as far as when you guys are playing, are you doing theater of the mind, or do you guys have minis out in front of you during the podcast?
Go ahead, somebody else.
No, we don't have any kind of minis. It's all in our imagination.
Nice.
That's great. I love it. That makes that wolf fight so much more intense. And the snakes of not knowing they are. Oh, the chaos of it. The chaos of all
I
of it.
love theater of the mind. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I do too.
Me too.
That's, oh goodness. That's making me palpitate with the craziness. Theater of the mind is intense. It's intense. Okay. Now, Kim.
Yes.
You said you're a gamer, yes?
Just
play
Fallout.
Fallout?
Just Fallout.
And Minecraft.
Oh, and
And
Minecraft.
Okay. Which Fallout are you playing?
4.
4?
Yeah.
Your mom's a keeper. she said 76, we were gonna be like, ah. Okay.
No, my son said I'm not ready for 76. So yeah.
No one is.
No one is. If you don't want to get griefed by trolls,
Oh no,
thank you.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa, dogs, quit barking at each other. They're crying for attention, and I'm not going to give it to them. Okay. So, at this point, my next question is, has there been anything that you have wanted to do outside of the box with your characters in the campaign, where you felt like there wasn't a rule for it, but you wanted to attempt it?
Tough question.
It is a really tough question.
Well, you
I asked the tough questions.
I like it.
bagpipes in the middle of a battle.
Yeah, I wanted to use my bagpipes during the battle, but
All right,
I think
so
that's
Trace,
not acceptable.
I'm gonna tell you, you definitely should use your bagpipes in the middle of battle,
Okay.
and it will be amazing to use your bardic inspiration. Yes, I have full access to Trigus right now. I'm gonna speak into the mind of Trigus. Play those bagpipes,
Okay.
and give bardic inspiration. And
Okay.
I will be such a fan to get it spread out to people to go, you have to listen to these actual bagpipes being played during the session. It'd be great. Okay.
Okay.
Do it.
will.
If
I
there's
will.
not in the session after the next one of bagpipes being played in the battle, I might weep because it would be nonsense without it. Okay. So Becca, I'm gonna share with you a story about characters doing things that I never expected.
Okay.
So I'm running a carnival of player characters. So they run a little circus, and they go from town to town, and they're collecting intelligent items that have intelligence, and they're trying to pull them back in. Well, no, that's the wrong campaign. I am mistake. Okay, no. In a previous campaign, my wife was playing a dwarf cleric named Vistra, and they were in a dungeon trap where it was going to flood the room with water, and the ceiling's coming down, so the pressure is going to pop them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're level 10 at this point. And so at level 10, they have game-breaking spells. And so my wife just looked at me, and she said, fuck your puzzle room, and she did stone shape on the wall, and then they just all went into the using stone shape. And I have to say, that was an exciting moment of fear in my brain.
Yeah.
And everyone's laughing at the table, and then she was like, by the way, I also stole your beer at the table. And she had switched our ciders. So I wish you luck with your players at your table when they feel safe enough to sabotage you in the worst possible ways.
Fair enough. I'm terrified.
I'm looking at you, Trigus. Sabotage.
Yes. I am terrified, but super excited.
Okay.
Yeah,
now
a bard and
go
a
ahead.
rogue.
Yeah.
Bard and Rogue. That is, what is
I
that?
mean,
Is that
shit, paladins, like,
Yes.
in later levels, like, they fuck shit up. So, yeah.
That I know.
That divine smite.
I played 5 paladins, I can tell you.
Well, it's like that
Yeah.
Road to El Dorado movie where it's like you send the Bard and the Rogue off an adventure and they take over civilization. Yeah, that's what. No, thank you. Okay, are you guys doing experience points leveling up or milestone?
We're doing milestone leveling, mostly because I think the podcast is more focused on the story aspect of it than it is the mechanics aspect of it, and so the milestone leveling just felt like it fit better with that.
Okay. And then there was another question attached to that, and my brain pulled a dad moment and walked away.
Well, while you're
Give
thinking
me a
that,
moment.
I have a question for Ashley.
Ooh, okay.
So, Rachna is a paladin of Bahamut, correct?
Yes.
How? Or is that something we can't know yet?
I don't know if I can. Well, I mean, what's on? I think I've already put that like on my profile thing. Okay, all right.
I haven't checked in on it in a while. So.
Well, no, I'll tell you. You can skip that. So basically, Rachna was separated from her parents in her village. I maybe don't want to go too much into that, but she was separated and taken in by her aunt. And that was the person who took care of her, and she happened to be a very devout follower of Bahamut. So she was just raised that way, basically.
And what was this aunt?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just curious, like, half-work paladin of Bahamut. That's new.
I mean, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to worship a dragon. So, I mean, it was just kind of, I had to.
I'm down. I'm here for it, as the kids would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was okay with it because it just like, I tried to leave it pretty open as far as choices like that went for this world, just because we're all learning together. So we might as well go balls to the wall and just do crazy things that you're not going to get the opportunity to do things in other campaigns maybe. And so like, let's do it here while we're learning all together in this like sandboxy kind of, way.
Yeah. I love it.
So, 2 more questions that are semi-tied together. The first question is, are you using standard array, point by, or roll of 46 for abilities?
They rolled 46 for their ability.
Oh my goodness. So who has the lowest ability? Who's the lowest one? Who has the lowest somewhere?
Like the lowest hit points is definitely...
the like, who has, so on the 46, who rolled like the lowest ability modifier?
Oh, I see what you're asking. I want to say...
I think it was you.
I want to say... No, it might be Kim, I think. You've got one modifier, Kim, that's like a -2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Which modifier is that? I can't remember.
The one at the bottom.
So
They all
no,
are.
that's your charisma. That's not your low. Was it your dexterity?
Yeah, it's your deck.
Please don't be that. Okay.
I don't remember what it is. I should have brought my homework with me.
It
That
came
would've-
up in the last session. That's how I remember. Because it canceled something else out.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Kim has a -2 modifier in her dexterity, which is our...
Okay. Fantastic. Now, how did you decide upon the dice roll option for abilities? Was it just what you understood as to be the option that you were going to go forth and what you've played with before, or did you look at 3 options and decide on that one?
I have played with the dice rolling way before, and that's the way that I knew, and I knew so little that I thought, I'm gonna clean. This is something I know how to do, so I'm gonna have them do it.
Yes. I love it. Okay. And now the related question. Do you all know what the deck of many things is?
No.
No.
Oh, God.
Okay, so
Don't look it up.
Trigus should go look for the deck of many things. Trigus, that would be so good for you. Becca, you should look that up before you allow Trigus to go looking for it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. The deck of men.
I'm being a hobgoblin right now. I'm
Yeah,
just so happy. I'm
we'll-
being a
You're like strong.
rein me in, Hannah. Rein me in. Take me home.
Chris, stop!
Okay.
Okay.
Put some
really
duct
good.
tape over your mouth.
A whole side quest. I can see it now.
Mhm.
Not at level. Oh God, at level 2.
Level 2. Don't go looking for that level 2.
It would be amazing.
They should ask.
but-
They should. So, if I had any manipulative skill here, I'd be like, they should ask the apothecarists about the deck, and then you research that. You'd be like, no.
I need to know what
Why
this
would you ask? Why would you ask for this thing? Oh, mercy. Good.
All right. Chris, is that all of your
Totally.
questions?
That's all of my questions. I'm going to open it up to the floor or the Dice Girls. If there's
Yeah.
any questions they want to ask us, or yeah, I'll open up the floor.
Ask a
because
DM.
I'm just going to
Yeah,
get rid.
basically.
I have a question, like for you guys that are pros listening to us. How hard is it to listen to a group of people that don't know anything, and you're like, are you screaming?
It's not hard at all because honestly, for me, it takes me back to when I was learning.
Okay.
So that's enjoyable for me to listen to.
Okay.
And I think, go ahead, Chris.
No, you go, Hobart. I'll end with
All
mine. Yep.
I think we're all of us in this particular Twitch live stream group are of the same mind in that people learning to play the game is always a delight.
Yep.
So being able to listen to that in almost real time is absolutely wonderful. It was not that long ago that my wife and I learned to play together. I've only been playing D&D for 2 years now, and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Okay.
And my wife and I learned together, and we had a lot of those. I have dark vision moments, and we were definitely helped out by the digital tools. But
Right.
listening to you guys just figure it out and keep plugging away at it. Like, it's not something that this is too hard, we're gonna stop. But to just keep going regardless and be able to look back on that and laugh at it, and then also like eventually look back on it and look at it fondly, not as an embarrassing moment, but as like that's when I learned to play D&D. That's insanely cool to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I prefer playing with new people.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Hate you guys.
I prefer playing with new people in the sense of that they're new to the game, because I've been playing for maybe 19, 21 years. I can't remember. But there's a certain group, especially because I grew up young, nerdy white male, of like the power gamers that are just like, I'm going to build this, and it's disgustingly like just kill everything. And so with new people, they'll ask me questions. Can I do this? I'm like, you can do anything you want. I'll provide you the role. You tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you what to roll. So that's always a joy to listen to people learn how to play and on their own without someone. Like, what's been great about Becca DMing is that there's not someone over her saying, now roll this. She's figuring it out all in the moment, and she's got to have this facade of confidence. Like, I know what I'm doing. You guys got to pay attention to me. And so it's great. I teach a after-school D&D club, and I've got about 16 kids in it. And so there's a few DMs working with the kids, and they've just discovered after going into a dungeon with all of like the loot that they can and so watching them experience, wait, I can actually do anything I want. Like, they invested in an emu farm, they bought new weapons, like they were like, what are we doing? So playing with kids is really interesting, the same as playing with older adults too, like for the first time, that are getting to use their imagination, and there's no video game codes or graphics that there's a set parameters that are in. It's here are the pirate guidelines of D&D, run with it.
Yeah.
And then like my favorite moment has been like listening to the podcast walking home and my child's listening, and she's the one that's arguing, going, "You need to tell them what they're doing wrong. You need to tell them. Tell them right now." I'm like, "It's recorded. We're just listening. They need to fix it. We can't fix it." She's like, "Promise me you'll tell them they can see in the dark." I'm like, "I think they're gonna figure it out." And then you figured out, and she's like, "Oh, thank God." So,
I love it.
but no, it's exciting to hear, and like there are D&D podcasts that dime a dozen, but there's barely any that is an all women's cast, and they're all learning to play, and so that really puts you guys in this very small but outward like large audience of people can recognize that. Because when I look at the D&D field, especially like with the like Gamergate stuff that happens, is that there is a beacon of like women that are older that are playing this game, and so she can look up and go, "This is a space for me too."
Yeah.
Like the biggest argument I hear in a lot of D&D spaces about women playing is like, "Well, there weren't women playing when I was playing." I'm like, "Yes, they are. They just don't want to play with you because you smell and like you're rude."
Yeah.
Like, so if anything, like I get a laugh out of like when there are mistakes, and then I'll set a timer of like when I hear the mistake and then you guys get to it, and that's the biggest giggle factor for me. And that's great. And it's not a bad judgment. It's just it's a hilarity, and like because that happened to the best of us too, of like, "Oh, this is how spell slots work, and I've been playing for 3 years.
Right.
What the hell's wrong with me?" Like it's things like that. So
And we
it's
have
a joy.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just finished. I said it's a joy. End scene.
No, I was just gonna say we have that dark vision moment is, I think, one of the most common things we hear about, and the most common thing we hear from people is, "Oh, we had that exact same moment. I've been there. I've done that." And so it's like it's really cool, and I think it makes us feel a little better. It's a little less embarrassing when other people and so many other people are like, "Yeah, me too."
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're all screaming in the abyss together.
Pretty cool to be screaming into.
Yes. All right, I'll be quiet and leave the floor open for anyone else that wants to talk.
Anybody else? I don't know if I have any. Like I didn't think of questions beforehand.
That's okay. I put you on the spot. This is what I do.
A little
I
bit.
put people on the spot.
Chris.
You're absolutely welcome. Here's some inspiration dice.
Yeah.
Inspiration dice for everyone.
Is there anything that you guys have like ever wanted to ask like a DM who's been doing it for a long time? Because this is definitely the opportunity.
Yeah.
The whole premise of our stream is forever DM no more. We're like the opposite of you guys, which I think is really, really great that like we've got like two polar ends of the community here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Man, I guess just I don't know. I'm at the point where I don't know what I
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm getting there. But I don't know, just I think so you guys, the Forever DM No, you've been DMing for so long and now you're playing, is that the premise of it?
Yeah, the basic premise is that Forever DMs are by definition people who like started running games and then were never able to stop. They were never able to actually be players in their games. So my idea initially was to bring those people together and run a game for them, so that they could be players. And then we started like doing a rotational type of thing. So Kris took over DMing, and I got to play.
Nice.
And then at the start of the new year,
first time ever being a player.
It was my first time ever being a player. I've been a DM my for vast majority of the time I've been playing. Yeah, I lost my train of thought because yet another person just said their video and sound was Twitch. What was I saying?
You're talking about the premise of bringing Forever DMs together.
I completely did. Yeah, that was the initial premise, and it's still that. But now we're starting to move more into like also bringing in new people who've never played before and would like to be part of like an established.
That's neat. That's a really good idea. I like that. And like at this point in my mind, it's like, what? I love being a DM. I'm never gonna not want to. But I think I could probably see 19 years down the road if maybe.
What I've found interesting for me anyway is that like I was a DM and I was like, man, I just want to play. I want to be a player. Like I love running games, love it, but I want to play. Like I want to experience it from that side. I've been a player for roughly 2 months, and I am so ready to hop back in that DM chair. Like I'm like chomping at the bit. Like I still love being a player, but there's just a part of my brain and the way I think that can only be satisfied and fulfilled when I'm running the game.
Yeah.
You want control.
No, it's not even about control. Really.
It's totally about control.
Maybe for you, Kris.
Yeah. Everything.
That's not true.
I don't know.
That's not true.
So was this your first ever character? Oh yeah.
Fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Homer.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Sturgis, the Goliath Bard. He
Ooh.
is a College of Glamour Bard, and he is absolutely fabulous.
He's the ass puncher, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
He likes to start fights.
That came out of a one-shot that we did at level 10 after Hobart's campaign was ending. And we're going to put a level 10 adventure, and it ended with them fighting a beholder. Does everyone know what a beholder is?
No.
Oh boy.
Okay.
It's like the most iconic D&D monster.
It's a monster. It's basically a blob with a mouth and an eye, a large eye in the middle with tentacles that have eyes.
Oh,
Ooh, I have a mini. Let me get the mini. Oh, where did I put it? Did you take my mini again, kid? You took my mini.
While he's looking for the mini, I'll say that I'm actually the opposite of Hobart Kris, where I've been the designated DM with like everything I've done for the longest time. I had one really bad player experience, and then I was thrown into the designated DM chair and was stuck there. And I prefer being a player, and that's probably because I come from a background of writing and getting very invested in a character. And LARP. Yeah, there it is.
That is terrifying. I love it.
Amazing.
Keep talking, Hannah.
But I also come from a background of LARP, live action role play. And that's literally where you physically have to immerse into the character as well. So I love DMing. It's great. I prefer it specifically with homebrew, but getting to be a player is like the best thing ever. And pretty soon, both of my two best friends are going to be joining our group, and it's going to be the very first time I've ever been able to be a player with the two of them.
Oh,
and I'm so excited for that. That's like a really big deal for me. Best Christmas gift ever. Best birthday gift ever.
That's so.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So this is my hot rod beholder that I painted. My Iron Man beholder. So they're a big giant eye with tentacle eyes, and they get to on their turn shoot out laser beams from their eyes, 3 a turn, and they can like petrify, put you to sleep, make you afraid, kill you, like with 10d10 necrotic damage pretty instantly.
Almost
They're-
killed Fee.
They're pretty nasty. So they fought that, and Sturgis's backstory was he became so famous because he killed a man by punching him in the ass. And we were like, okay, that has to happen in a campaign at some point with Sturgis.
Hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet. Now,
We've got
as far
a limited window.
yeah, we're gonna make it happen. So, my first character, I I was really into the Dritz Durden series. It was a drow character. Like, I was all about being a ranger at that point. I'm talking at this. What am I doing? Hold on. Let's change the cameras. Fix it. Nope. We didn't fix it. God. I'm a hot mess tonight. There we go.
Hey,
Okay.
there you go.
There we go. So that's what my first character was, but I didn't get to play him long because I grew up in a house of 8 boys.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so I was like 10 and I had younger brothers, and we had my uncle come into town once and he showed us how to play. But I was the only one that could read at that age. And so my other brothers were like, "You're in charge. You can read the books."
Yeah.
So then I just started DMing, and then I was always the doodler and always the one like wanting to write down like this giant backstory for a city that doesn't exist.
Mhm.
And I learned very early, like in a campaign, not to do that because like the way I started was I built a whole town. I remember it, like, and I wish I still had the paper of it, but I built a whole town of maybe 300 people, and everybody had a character sheet. 300 people had a character sheet. Like, I had tracks of like their daily lives and when they were going about. I was I was the band nerd kid geek, like not going on dates. That's what I was doing. I was making this thing.
I love that.
That is really
And-
cool.
So I made this thing. I'm like, my players are gonna love it. They're gonna be in this town. There's so much intrigue. It's gonna be great. And the first 5 minutes, they're like, "Peace out. We're leaving." And I just looked at it and I was like, I'm not sure if I regret it or like, what am I doing with my life? So that was exciting.
You know,
But I had this stack of like paper. It was great.
on topic of first characters, the first character I got to actually play, not make, play, her name was Cersei Lionsbane, and she was a mounted combatant fighter.
Nice.
She had like really thick, curly ginger hair. She was a hard butch lesbian. She flirted with every other female in the party. Her best friend was my best pal Amber's character, Barrow. He was a half-elf druid. They were a very odd friend duo. But they were both equally very angry people. Cersei more headstrong, and Barrow more, his blood boils and then boils over, and then you're fucked. But Cersei was a mess because first character, at least for D&D, and I would like to revisit her one day. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to leave her in her coffin somewhere. And the funny thing is in this campaign, the DM had made the party trust a NPC. And, like, they basically adopted this NPC, and they loved him. And the DM built it up to where suddenly... They tried to pull like a morals question on us, and it completely backfired on the DM. So they basically made this drow character that everyone had fallen in love with be the reason that the party was like, racing against the clock to save the country, And the DM thought that because everyone loved him so much, we would want to support him. Cersei said no. Wanted to beat the shit out of him. Rallied 3 other characters against him. And we never played again.
Oh no!
Yep. And then my career as a DM began. And until Forever DM No More, that I was a DM from then on. So I want to revisit Cersei, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, she was iconic already. She already ruined shit. Right now, yeah, exactly. Right now, my character Fia Meta is doing shit like having to roll Constitution rolls to see if she gets an STD or not.
That's not my decision. That's you. That's not my decision. We're gonna play a game where we all go into the Feywild. Kris, I need the seediest brothel you can imagine. But there's the Feywild. Brothel, Kris. Brothel.
Fia Meta is a noble who needs satisfied.
This is what I deal. Maybe that's why I have such a fascination. I don't know. This is goodness. But yeah, there's the game you want to play, and then there's the game the players want to play sometimes.
That is very true.
And that's what I'm having to do with the students for the and because they're 4th and 5th graders. And I kid you not, I have one kid who's like, Can I Jackie Chan him in the face? I'm like, say again. He's like, a karate chop. I'm like, all right, we need to talk about your racism for a second. So yeah, there's that. Like, I have to tailor that game for them on what things they want is things to kill and buy things. And I have to make sure that the NPCs in the village are not the things that they want to kill. I have to put a bigger prize of like monsters in the area. And what's great about watching those kids is they're learning how to be diplomatic. And when they first approached an enemy they couldn't beat up physically, that was a great awakening point for them. Like, oh, we can die. I'm like, yes. Quit trying to kill everything.
Right.
Goodness.
Get that murder hobo out of your system.
Murder hobos, man. They are a hoot. Murder hobos are great for a dungeon crawl. I love me a good dungeon crawl because it's safe bet. You could probably kill everything in a dungeon. Just sterilize it. Town, no.
We've had kind of almost like the opposite of whatever the opposite of murder hobo is, where I have set things specifically thinking like, okay, they're gonna kill this thing, and they're like, no, I don't think my character would hit that if she didn't have to. Like, I didn't do that. And so it's been really really interesting, and I actually I'm liking it a lot better that way because there's more room for creativity of, we're gonna approach it this way and find a way around it instead of just killing everything.
Yeah.
Yes. I call them the socialites.
Oh, I like
it. And the socialites. And the socialites are like, can I friend it?
Yeah.
Like, can I friend it? Can I eat it? No, I can't eat it. Can I sell it? Can I seduce it? Please don't. I'm going to seduce it. Please don't. Disadvantage. I'm going to roll. Okay. Natural 20 on both rolls. God, all right. Go down that roll.
All right.
You seduce the magical.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
We haven't had like seducing things yet, but Trigus wants to befriend everything. Like, he's like, oh,
as Trigus should.
I can make it my friend. It's great.
As a bard, you can.
Yeah.
You can make everything your
I've
friend.
I'm not gonna lie, I have caught myself going, "Hi, I'm Chris Brown. Have you heard of me?" Like you've heard of me. Like I just love it. I'm sure you've heard the story. Like that's just like this. The amazing self-unawareness of that character is just so it's great.
Slope in the chat says, "Cleanse the town, seduce the dungeon."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
typically what happens.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any more to contribute. I'd like to thank the Dice Girls for coming on again.
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
This
thank
really
you so
appreciate you having-
much.
Thank you so much
So
for having
awesome.
us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Putting up with
Yeah.
our ridiculousness.
Okay.
Mhm.
I feel like you're putting up with our ridiculous.
Oh no.
It's mutual. Let's leave it at that,
Mutual.
ladies.
It's really ridiculous.
Goodness.
All right, so I think we've said it enough times, but let's say it one more time. You have been watching/listening to the Dice Girls as guests on Knights of the Tabletop on the Friendly Dungeon Master Twitch channel. You can find them where free podcasts are sold.
Free podcasts are
iTunes.
sold.
You're on iTunes. You guys
Yes.
on Spotify?
Yes.
Yep.
Spotify? Google?
Yes.
Google Play?
Also, Anchor, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube.
Yeah. Podcast. Damn it.
We tried.
Awesome. And do you guys want to plug your Twitter handles?
Yeah, sure. The main Dice Girls account, which is mostly just me being goofy on Twitter all day, is at the Dice.
What's mine?
I think it's Trigus1.
Oh
It's
yeah, mine is at Trigus1 for Trigus Garganath.
Yeah, and then mine is at Changeling Kai.
Mine exists. It's at Rockna. There's just not anything. I haven't been on Twitter yet.
We're working on it.
Yeah, they're trying to get me to do it.
You know, we're gonna get y'all to 1,000. Trigus, if Trigus isn't 1,000 at some point, like I rue the day. I'm gonna make it happen. All right. Well, their recent episode just came out on Monday. I encourage everyone to go back to the beginning and listen to it. Their production value is great and it's hilarious. Dark vision all the way. Remember, check your eyes, everyone. But yeah.
Real quick, before we go, we do have an exciting announcement. Well, two actually. For the Forever FDMNoMore Channel. So the date has tentatively been set for the level 20 Drunk D&D one shot. DM'd by yours truly.
I'm gonna die.
I already did art for my character. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's good. So keep your eyes on Twitter for some more polls. We already polled for the setting. It's going to be a homebrew setting of my choosing. So that's going to be fun. And the tentative date is January 27th in the normal time slot for our Sunday show. Everyone needs to take the following day off of work.
Yeah.
We encourage you to drink along with us. It'll be fun. The other more immediate announcement is that there is now a public Forever FDMNoMore Discord server that you can join and be part of and chat with us and with one another. And yeah, that'll be fun. I will be tweeting out that link. It is, I believe, live. Twitch panels at the bottom of the screen. I'll have to click on it to make absolutely certain. But yeah, super fun. So we've had a few people ask. We finally have a dedicated Discord server for people who watch this show. Well, this show and the other one. And I'll see there are more shows coming.
Woo!
Very soon.
Yep.
We're going to be streaming almost every day of the week.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm going to say my goodbye now because I am being...
Yep. We're signing off.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, it's
But yes.
nighttime.
Thank you, Kris, for setting this up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
And
for watching.
remember,
Well, hold on. Becca,
Yes.
would you like the outro?
No.
Good night, Kris.
Bye.
All right, so I will. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a blast. Thank you to the Dice Girls for coming on and hanging out with us. Listen to their podcast. It's awesome. And watch our show, because it's not quite as awesome, but it's still pretty good. And until
Super
then,
awesome.
please remember to keep it friendly. See you guys next time.
good night.
Bye.
Thank you.